Hello everyone and welcome to a very special episode here on the Sauropod Squad. Here on this channel our theme is dinosaurs, but our passion is for a variety of games. Now folks, if that is your vibe, then welcome, you have found your herd. Today, ladies and gentlemen, it is episode 20 of the Sauropod Squad Park, Jurassic Park series here in Minecraft, modded Minecraft, with the Fossils and Archeology mod, the Create mod, and so many more. So today, to celebrate that big milestone, I thought we would do a world tour. I want to kind of do this episode a little bit different than some of the other episodes. I'm going to not cut that often. We're going to be kind of free form here, and I'm just going to kind of talk and walk with you guys throughout our park. I want to take you guys from this visitor center here, show you all the details, show you all the stuff that we used to do up in the lab up there. And then we're going to take a trip on over yonder and show you guys the park maintenance, kind of all of the Minecrafty things and the Create mod stuff that we've got going on in this park. We've got food automated, we've got automatic iron, I've got a whole crusher section built up, and that big brick building above my head is automating all of the wood types, as well as the seeds, or, well, the saplings, and the leaves of every wood variant that we currently have, which is almost everything in Minecraft. So, without further ado, welcome on in to the visitor center. Now, another big thing I want to do today is update our map. So this is supposed to be, you know, like a little visitor center welcome area that has the topography map in the middle, if you will. I wish we could actually get like raised topography, because this whole thing is enclosed in a valley, which is really cool. I honestly think we got extremely lucky with just the terrain generation and how you can't see here, but it's completely encircled by mountains except for this little entrance, which I will end the video off here in what will be our Cretaceous section and kind of show you guys a little bit more plans for what's going to happen in the next 10 episodes. But today I think we need to grab this one, this one, this one, and that one's actually fine. So I think, although it might have, we'll grab this one anyway. All right, we'll throw that in our offhand for the time being, so it can update, because there's a few things that it hasn't seen before. The map, that is. But here is our bedroom. Now, I've kind of neglected this bedroom. I threw up this sweet little, fireplace and flat screen TV section. But to be honest, I've neglected like coming in here and adding more carpet and making it look really good. But you know, this is our first building that we built in the server, or rather second building, but the first building for ours sake. And this used to be our micro lab, our first lab. Still got some mutant plants hanging out and some bone blocks or skull blocks. But at this point, we have moved completely out of here into the newer lab just up the hill, which we will be heading to very shortly. But I wanted to come up here because we need to sleep. So let's start the day fresh and get out there. Now, folks, the way this is going to work today, like I said, we're going to start here in the Jurassic Park section. We're going to see about half of it, and then I'm going to take you on the monorail. We're going to go over here. We're going to see pretty much all of the stuff in the park maintenance facility, and then we'll even show you kind of the train routes that we've got going on in the server, which have been fantastic and a lot of fun to mess with. And then we'll come back here to the Jurassic Park and see the last few exhibits, and then close off by talking about the future plans for the park. Also, I said I'm going to do minimal cuts, and it's true. I'm going to try, but I'm already noticing that I stumble over my words, so I'm probably going to cut here and there throughout the video. It's fine. But the point is, I'm going to be sitting down and recording this for about an hour with you guys. Anyway, we are here in what we worked on last episode, which is the Sauropod exhibit. It looks like our sauropods are actually chilling over here by the wall. We've got Captain Diplo and another unnamed Diplodocus, I almost said Dimetrodon, this one, who is unnamed, who we will name in a future episode. But we've got her and her mate, Captain Diplo, and they were added just recently, but this whole exhibit, except for the walls, has pretty much been worked on the entire time with the park. I really wanted to live with the sauropods, and because of that, this exhibit, you know, has been worked on around our visitor center. It wasn't until last episode that I came in here and put the wall up and actually added our Diplodocuses. And we're also going to have Brachiosauruses in here. But the idea for this exhibit was to really make this field feel very, 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 very filled with ferns and foliage, and have like a riparian zone. So it felt like a very foliaged prairie slash river junction, if you will, as well as half of it being our big redwood forest, which is kind of the main staple of the Jurassic section here. Now, I do want to preface, I've been saying this in all the other episodes, is while I am being lore accurate when I can be, as far as lore accurate, historically accurate with the dinosaurs and where I put them. Like, we're only putting Jurassic dinosaurs here in the Jurassic section. One thing I am pretty adamant about not doing is keeping consistent with the plants. So you're going to see some plants, like for example, this one here is only from the Cretaceous, but we've got it all over the Jurassic area. So just keep that in mind as we go around here, is that I wasn't being lore accurate to the plants, mainly because it's still Minecraft, right? I just want to kind of decorate things the way that they look, not necessarily the way that they would be in real life, so to speak. But anyway, here is the big lab building. This is our big lab where we do fossil work, analyzing, all that good stuff. So we will start the tour off up here and show you guys what we've got going on in here. Now, this bone block, skull block section is work in progress, as so I keep getting more from the fossils. I want it to kind of come out to here and basically block off the staircase, but we shall get there. And in here, we've got our fossil machine. So this is the first look at the crate mod here in our server, at least for this episode, for this world tour. And this is just the basic crushing setup. So I basically put some gravel in here, and it'll get crushed through the crusher, and out pops a bunch of sand. And if I take that sand and drop it into this chest here, it automatically puts everything on the conveyor belts, drops them through the chutes into the sifters, and those sifters run, there's actually some hoppers down here that are running it along here, and down here into our chest. And basically, this is so that we can get biofossils, automatic biofossils, which is really, really handy. And this machine has sped up dramatically the amount of DNA and thus dinosaur eggs that I'm able to get here on the server. It was very slow going until I made this lab, and now it is very, very much the heart and soul of this park and really getting everything going. We, of course, got John Hammond working in the lab. If you know, you know. He is awesome, and he deserves to be here. We also got Dr. Fungus, who's very handy at getting us milk. So I grab buckets, and I get a bunch of milk because I need milk, eggs, rotten flesh, and wheat to make our good old biofuel. Where did I put it? It's actually all being used. It's biofuel in here. Biogoo, I should say. And then I put the biogoo in our culture vats, and that's what makes the DNA turn to eggs. Now, here's our stash of eggs slash DNA. We've got our Jurassic section here. You can see it's getting a little bit empty because most of these are actually going in exhibits, like our Ceratosaurus exhibit down there, which we'll see in just a second. And then here is all the stuff we've got ready for the Cretaceous expansion of the park, which will be coming soon, but the full goal is to get all of the Jurassic Park done and then move on to the Cretaceous area. And then from there, we can double back up here, which is the Triassic stuff. Now, I do plan to get a big Triassic building, which is going to be kind of like an insect house. I'm actually really excited for it. Now, we also have a bunch of aquatic stuff. That's going to be coming way later, probably after Jurassic. If we want to, we can go and make like kind of a water park. Because there's quite a lot, I'm not going to lie, there's quite a lot. But there's also a bunch of stuff like the Smilodon here that comes from a little bit more modern times. And so we'll be doing that, as well as a zoo way down the road. I do plan for this server to last me years. This is what people usually been calling their forever Minecraft server. For me, I'm going to be having this for years and years and years, and I'm very excited to elaborate on it and film it and show it off to you guys and continually work to make it better, right? I have plans of coming back here to this is the Dryo and Stegosaurus exhibit, coming back and like making the wall better and having like a walk around lookout area. So little aspects here and there will be changed throughout time. As I've been talking, we're hanging out here in the, I hesitate to call it the museum. It's kind of the section of the lab that houses, prehistoric findings and artifacts that either still need to be fixed up, or just needs to be kind of placed away from quote unquote the public. But I like it in here. It's pretty dang cool. And even got some stuff on the wall, and so it's just allows me to decorate this whole area. We've got this little bit of a walkout area. My thought when building this was that it was basically, if you can imagine like an aquarium, right? You've got that huge glass wall looking to an aquarium. It was kind of like that, but instead of an aquarium, you're looking down to find, there's one kind of hiding from us, Ceratosauruses. But let's go ahead and we'll visit the Ceratosauruses. And then we'll go ahead and hop on here. This is the monorail station. We'll take the monorail over to the park maintenance section like I was telling you guys about. But I do want to show you some dinosaurs here in the beginning. Here's our chest of names that you guys have put in the comments. I've kind of stored them here for when we start getting more and more dinosaurs, Ceratosauruses specifically. And yeah, welcome to the Ceratosaurus exhibit. Let's actually put this away so you get more of a view. I really like this exhibit. I'm not gonna lie, it's still probably my favorite exhibit. I do have a lot of passion for all the other ones I've made, but there's just something about the lush bushes and the small redwood trees mixed with the big ones and the rock pile. I really like this exhibit. But yeah, we've got the kind of the rock pile here with the big carcass in the middle for them to eat, and our girls are hanging out here. They've been up here a lot. They really like rock climbing. But let's climb up and say hello. Up here we have Cookie and Queen, our females. How you girls doing? Full HP. Full HP is good. I definitely want to be checking all the dinosaurs' HP in today's tour. Usually what I have to do is act like a literal zookeeper, guys. I have to walk around and check the health of these dinosaurs and make sure that they're not stuck in bushes or like some weird hole in the ground, which happens every now and then. It was actually a recent episode that Bully here was stuck kind of against the wall in a little spot. Oh, don't eat me. Hello, sir. But yeah, I love this exhibit. It's got some paths that I designed to actually look like they would be social trails, but in reality, they're paths that I use all the time to walk around and build their feeders, which I have to do quite often. But it's easy now that we've got the automatic food building over in the back. All right, let's get out of the Ceratosaurus exhibit and take a walk through here. Now, over here is going to be the Dilo exhibit. I'm going to show you guys that one towards the end. But I think we need to go catch... Oh, I can show you this. This was made last episode as well. This is the lookout spot for the sauropods, which I'm really excited for. I think once we have... Oops, I fell over. No, come back. Once we have Brachiosauruses and a bunch of... more Diplodocuses in here, it's gonna be really cool because they're kind of just hiding over in that corner, but that's fine. I gave them the forest to hide, but most of their feeders are out in this area to kind of promote them to come out and actually get seen. All right, with the brand new day ahead of us, let's go ahead and try to catch this next monorail, although I did just see it leave, so we might be waiting for a bit. But here is our Jurassic Park monorail station in all of its glory. Big fan of it. It does give this whole area kind of a cool vibe that you're like underneath. And eventually I'm gonna come through here and, just like I said with the exhibit over there, everything's gonna be worked on over time, right, and advanced and improved. So this will eventually be kind of like a paved section with some park benches and signs and stuff like that. I want this place to feel like an amusement park, essentially. Just Jurassic Park, right? Jurassic World Evolution style. Over here is our aviary. We're going to save this towards the end as well to show you guys our Dimetrodons over there. A bunch of little flyers. You might be able to see one. Yeah, there's one. I was going to say, you might be able to see them flying around in there. We got Coco and Flux and... Why can't I think of the other one? My mind's blanking. I apologize on that. But we'll go see them later. It's a female whose name I can't remember. But here is our stop. Quick look at our monorail station. I do just want to come back through here and put better lights and lanterns and stuff. Again, constant work in progress up in here. Those are just some basic Minecraft OGs. You put the stair with the wooden side and you get a chair. But let's take a look out the window This is easily one of my favorite things to do in the park is to ride these monorails. Now, these monorails are using the Create mod. We've got an episode or two all about how to build these and all the effort went into making this. Oh, I should probably sit. It gets a little buggy. But the view out here is fantastic. I love it, which is what inspired me to do those fly-in intro and outros that you guys have been seeing in the videos. Very, very fun. All right, but here we are arriving in the park maintenance section. This is an area that got heavily worked on very recently, including this monorail station, which I'm very proud of. This monorail station is kind of the vibe I want in the other one. Just keep the other one more wooden, right? More kind of earthly tones and colors. This one's very meant to be very modern. So we've got the black chairs and kind of, let's be real, kind of looks like an airport, right? But it looks like it could house quite a lot of people. And so I'm very, very pleased with it and how it came out. Well, let's head on out here into the industrial zone. Got a little bit of a Blackwood Forest backdrop here. We've got our big warehouse building that I want to show you guys pretty much first before we head into the building I just passed. But this area was originally started to be built up by our buddy Al, who goes by Quantum Zobua. Now, Zobua here was playing in the server with us from the start. Unfortunately, his work schedule got a little bit heavier, and, you know, I was a little bit more invested in the server from a YouTube point of view. But in the very beginning, this was his house that he designed, so I want to go show you guys what that is all about. He also built over there that mess of nonsense is our iron farm. So it's early game create mod to get iron. But yeah, his house is pretty cool. I don't know what I'm going to do with this going forward, since at this point of time, the server is single player. Also, you need to go, sir. See ya. But yeah, I'm not really sure what to do with this house going forward. I could move in and kind of make it my own personal place, since this is technically the visitor center that I was just kind of occupying and living out of the attic. This is an actual house, so I could move in here completely and totally revitalize it and remodel it, because he made kind of a nice chest room with the start of automating it. I don't think he ever quite got around to finishing it. But he's got funnels on the back. If I can get back there, parkour. If I can get back here, yeah, he's got belts that you can put filters on and drop off all your stuff into one chest. This one it looks like, and then outputs everything. So he's got it kind of set up to start sorting. But I know he left kind of in the middle of it, which is unfortunate. He does still have his horse here, which is more than I can say, because poor Gladius, our horse from the first few episodes, just went missing. I don't know. I think he ran away or died, which is unfortunate. But down here was the very start of our workshop. When the server first started, Zobu was very focused in kind of making machines. You can see we have so many turtle problems. Unfortunately, a lot of it is kind of broken up and moved, and that's why you kind of see like unmoving parts, and there's just everything. Everything down here was kind of testing stuff and learning stuff. But we do have an automatic potato farm down here, which I actually did ruin recently. I came through and destroyed. This used to be like going up to the sky with a windmill, and I kind of destroyed it because this isn't a food that lasts me quite a while. But yeah, we were automating food, so a very, very early game food. We relied pretty heavily on baked potatoes, which is very nice. Now through here, I'll give you a sneak peek. I'm gonna skim through this after we take a look at more of the buildings here in the maintenance facility section, the park maintenance facility section. But this is on our way to our big mine, our quarry, and we've got train tracks going all over the place. But we'll put a pin in that because I want to show you guys a little bit more about the park maintenance area, and then I'll hop into spectator because it takes a long time to kind of run around with all these train tracks. The trains go very far, and they go off. I can show you on the map. They go off into different directions. Let's make this back to normal. What is normal? There we go. So yeah, you can see here that our park is very much in a valley. And then the trains actually run up north into our tree farm area, and they run south as well into our quarry. They actually run very, very, very far south, all the way to my buddy's Dr. Pepper, PhD is his handle, and so they go quite far, and I'm very pleased to have the trains. Like I said, they're a lot of fun. All right, but as we work our way back up here through the streets that were built up very recently, this is our automatic wood building. I'll take you in there just a second. Well, we were getting very overwhelmed at the beginning of working out of Al's basement. So he went ahead and made this. Now, this is the pride and joy of the server. If the lab is the heart, this is the bones. This is really what gets us going around the server. We've got a bunch of create mod automated stuff, or semi-automated really, but a lot of inputs, then they run through the machines into outputs. So we've got, we've got the deployers, we've got the basins and the mixers. We've got this big, which is like a mega crafter. I guess mechanical crafter is what it's called. We've got the crusher, the small one, the old one. We've got like a poker in the water. This is a washer. This is a haunter. This is a saw blade. There's a bunch going on in here. But very recently, I was running the crusher a lot to get concrete, mainly for all of the roads and also the buildings. But I needed like a lot of concrete, and so I went ahead and made this down here. Now this is probably the biggest machine on the server besides the automatic food warehouse. And what this does is, let's actually show you from up here. You come on up here, you drop in like your sand or whatever, and it goes in through here, drops out there, runs along these conveyor belts and gets crushed. And there's 4 crushers. So it's basically just what you see upstairs, just times 4, all linked together, and it all drops it down into a nice, neat output chest here, which I run a lot for sand so that I can transport all the sand from here over to our automatic fossil machine over in the lab, which is very, very handy and definitely has helped progress the server a lot more. Alright, but let's head out of the workshop and show you one of the more recent additions to the park, which is our automatic beef warehouse. Well, it's also vegetables. It runs carrots and cows in here. Now, I'm not going to show this off too much because it gets real technical. You guys can go check out the actual episodes where I built this if you want kind of the rundown on how everything works specifically. But long story short, it drops wheat in here, and these cows get bred, and that gets deposited into these chests for food. Now, I think these chests are pretty much empty right now. Hey, how'd you get out, sir? What? How'd you do that? You're not supposed to be out. Yeah, so these make steak for us, which is really awesome. I got an AFK, but my ultimate goal is to have these chests be automatically filtered underground, and using trains, they'll be sent off to each exhibit, and we'll have automatic feeding in all the feeders of the park, which I'm super excited, but that project's gonna be a very large project. Down here we've got the kind of same thing, but for the carrots, and then the top one there is running the wheat that gets ran along the conveyor belts to be deposited into the cow section. So that's how that all works, and it is wonderful and fantastic. This guy escaped earlier, and I gave him a name. This is Frank. I guess I'm gonna have to give a name to the new baby that also escaped. So. Yeah, not sure how that happened, but I guess he'll be warranted a name. Maybe I'll name him Beans. We'll have Frank and Beans. All right, the only other thing to show you guys here in the park maintenance facility, other than all the roads that have been laid out with plans for future expansions, is the big brick old factory-looking building here that runs our automatic trees. And let's get on down over there. Oh, look what we got going on here. People who think the park is open. Oh god, they all looked at me menacingly. Hello, guys. I have to kill these guys quite often because we are in a plains biome, or the majority of it is plains, and they just spawn like crazy. So they're a constant problem, but it is what it is. All right, in here, our old factory is where our wood gets dropped off. Now, I gotta be honest with you guys, I have yet to actually sit down and like really fill this building, because to do so I have to AFK pretty much in the train, because the train goes all the way over up north to our tree farm, which I will show you guys in a bit, and that's where it collects it, and then it ships it all the way back and deposits it here. But I have to either have a chunk loader or myself be there for it to fill the train, and I have to be here for it to unload. So it's a little imperfect, but I just have to plan to like AFK overnight riding the train, and then it'll go over here, it'll collect when I'm there, it'll come over here, it'll deposit when I'm over here. So it works. And we did AFK a little bit in the very beginning when building this, with like Al helped me. He was over in the tree side, and I was over here. So it did fill, but you can see we've got a bunch of wood. It is very, very exciting. And it looks like this one's a little messy, and I might have to get back into the bowels and the filters and really manage this. But yeah, it's a little unfinished, but it does have a lot of what I need. And if I don't have it here, then I can go over to the actual farming side of things, which is fantastic. So a lot of time has been saved with trees and woods. I mean, if you've ever played Minecraft, you know how much wood you need in this game. And so, honestly, my go-to has been right here. My redwood logs. It's fantastic. It's my go-to color. I've obviously used it a lot over there for the redwood trees. And it became kind of my new spruce wood, to be honest. I've always been a fan of spruce. But the redwood with the mod is it's kind of nice. I kind of like it. Alright. Let's go into spectator mode for a little bit. I'm actually going to hide the HUD here, and we're going to go down into the bowels of the world. So what I want to show you guys down here is all the train work. You see here is actually our passenger train. It's getting stopped until it goes forward down there into the routes. These train routes... Speed up. These train routes go underneath our world. They stop... we've got like kind of subway stations down here that they stop at. Here's my stopping spot. So these trains not only are passenger trains, but have freight trains as well. Here is the tunnel I also spent way too long making, but it does look nice when we're in here. Then out here is that tree farm I was mentioning. You can actually see the freight train has stopped. It is docked here and is getting stuff out of this chest and filling these three actually. And then, so, yeah, we've got a full episode of building this. Of course, I mean, there's an episode of building this entire park if you go back far enough. But, yeah, these rotate around. They automatically chop the trees. They drop it in here, and it skedaddles its way down here into the chest, and then gets sent off. I will be real with you guys. Again, we didn't even finish this side. I haven't been back here in a while. You can see it's a mess. So I do got to come back here. But honestly, anytime I've needed these trees, I come out here, wait like 5 minutes, and these chests are just full of what I need. So I've been a little bit lazy on connecting this up and running the train routes all the way back. But yeah, it is what it is. Here is our original tree farm before it was automated. Just kind of plant the stuff over here. And then here's a cool view of our valley, which does have some places that some other friends have been playing a little bit, but again, everybody's off the server at this point. It's single player. But down there is Anonymouses, and then we've got a little bit of a house of somebody who played for like 2 days over in that corner. But I do love this little section of the park. But if we fly our way up and over, we can get a full view of that distant horizon mod, which shows off, you know, the distant horizon, makes the render distance way crazier. Of course, you can see when I'm flying like this, it does still struggle to load. It's doing a lot. But, hey, it's way better than the normal render distance. All right, but if we fly over this side of the mountain, back on the park maintenance side, you will see we have this guy. We've got our automatic quarry. Now, this is actually using a different mod. It's not using create mod. It's using the FTP mod. And we added this mod specifically to do this. But we learned, you know what, even at high speed, this thing just isn't as good as our boring machines with the create mod. So this is here, but it doesn't really pull up fossils. It kind of just gets us a lot of cobblestone, if I'm honest. It is finally starting to get down to deep slate. I don't hang out in this area to really like let it run, you know. It is going pretty fast at this point. I'm collecting a lot of blocks for us, except for whatever reason it messes up with these FTP fluid blocks. It just refuses to break those, which is kind of annoying and gets water everywhere. So that's another reason why I've kind of stopped messing with that. I wonder if we could see way out there. there is a train route technically that I spent time with my buddy. Yeah, right here. The train goes out to Dr. Pepper PhD, who played on the server for about a week, but didn't get too far into it before also unfortunately quitting. And then, another reason to make me set everything up in single player. Here's actually the original train that we used, and now it runs back and forth out to his place in case we ever want to go out there. So that's the original train before I upgraded all of it. Okay, last thing to show you guys flying around is in here. In fact, let's take you the cool way. Let's drop us off right here where we started the episode and get our HUD back. And now we, in the very beginning, I say we, me and Al, wanted an easy way to get across this valley. Obviously, it was very tiring to run all the way around before we had any infrastructure. So we made this. We both have a kind of way to drop down and to get back up. And I made mine look like an outhouse because, that's funny. So you hop in the old shitter, drop your way down here, and that gives you full circle, right? This puts you back down here in our train area. Now, this is also where I do my mining. So I've got my deep slate mine down here, and I've got my level 30 mining. I've got these set up at different levels, mainly because what I want out of it is fossils. This is before I had the automatic fossil machine and that big crusher machine. So this is the big monstrosity. You can see I've dug out and bored out a ton of space here. The machine is actually, I think, down in the deep slate, so I'll go show you that. But yeah, we're getting so much down here. We're getting a bunch of ores, andesite, granite, cobble for days. This is where I've been coming down here and grabbing all my cobble to convert the cobble into gravel, and then convert the gravel into sand. And that's really how I'm getting a lot of the fossils and thus the DNA and thus the dinosaurs out of all that. But if you hop here to the deep slate, it goes much lower. Drops us down into... Hello, slime. Drops us down into kind of a lava area, which is a lot of fun. But here's the boring machine. Now, I'm not going to turn it on. I've showed you guys in a few other episodes. But essentially, you turn it on, you run it, this whole thing pushes forward and just chops its way. Look, we got some fossils. Chops its way through this whole thing, which is really, really awesome. And so down here with the deep slate, I also get fossils, but it's different types of fossils. We tend to get more like early Triassic stuff down here because, the idea is that it is smaller. Hello, sir. You need to get away. The idea is that, deep slate it's older, it's deeper, and so you're getting some, like, older creatures down here. Actually, I'm going to grab these. I need some slime. All right. Let's get back up to the surface, shall we? All right, back on the surface here. I want to go show you guys the original building, the day one building here in this server. I've also gone ahead and made this path, and this is probably, I'm not going to lie, this is probably my favorite path in the entire park. I walk it all the time. Of course, now it is new, and it's got this big wall, because it puts us in the Sauropod exhibit. But this little dirt path that walks along the kind of the rim of this valley here, this has been here since week one, almost day one, and it's been very, very satisfying for me to kind of walk the path here and see everything change over time, right? See Al's building be made, see the warehouse get up and running when he made it, and see all the other buildings I've made. I'm also realizing I didn't mention to you guys, or I didn't zoom in on it too much when we were over there, that unfinished building behind this, and that's the iron farm. That's just uses create to automate iron, so I don't think I need to show that off too much, but that is where we're getting all our iron, which is extremely important in Minecraft. So up here is our day one area, right? The first day when we found this valley, we explored it all and decided, you know what, we're going to set up shop right here. Technically, this block right here is world spawn. This is what I moved it to. So if I die without a bed, I go right here. And it also exists so that if people do join the server, back when it was on a server and I was inviting my friends, this is where they spawn. And so day one, I made the spawn shack. This exists literally just to give you day one Minecraft stuff. I eventually want to put a big map here, but I might be deleting this in the far future, if I'm honest. Pretty much just exists to have basic Minecraft stuff. Gives you your first few furnaces, right? Gives you a stone cutter and and a bed, and so nothing crazy, but I did enjoy building this. It was day one. I think it turned out pretty good for day one. Used a lot of maple stuff because maple is new. Right, it's a new mod. We've got the whole maple forest over there. So I wanted to use it, right? Wanted to use new woods, use new trees. This is a pine tree as well, so I was having fun with the mods, right? Day one, Al also, when I made that, he decided to make the original wheat farm, so that's how we got our basic food and how we breed all of our animals. I made the Eggomatic 700. I thought I made it 7,000. Well, anyway, the Eggomatic 700 drops eggs, and this is where I get my eggs for the lab. Obviously, it makes way more than I need, so I'm pretty good, and they've just been chilling here. But that's how we get that. And then here's our sheep farm. Recently, I've been dyeing them green because this is how I'm hiding torches in exhibits, right? I'll put the torch in the ground and cover it up with a grass carpet or a green carpet, and it looks like grass. So that's why these guys are currently green, but I do eventually plan to make a building over there in the park maintenance area that automates all of the different colors of wool so that we can have carpets and chairs and a bunch of cool things that look different. Now, the only thing I haven't really mentioned on this route between the park maintenance section and here is this will eventually be where I put the normal zoo, right? So the normal animals that are alive today. So things like that monkey over there that I saw briefly. There he is, the Galapagos monkeys, turtles, and all of the other kind of normal animals that got added will be put here. But that's going to be after all the dinosaur stuff. Once we have all the dinosaurs up and running, then we'll start coming back here and doing actual normal animals. But to start on the Jurassic section, I'm still trying to decide if I want a big wall here, but there might be some sort of wall to be like, welcome to the Jurassic Park, right? And over here, we'll take a look at that in just a second, is going to be the Triassic area. Also, you guys are, oh, I fell in too. I can see how you guys fell in. You guys need to get out of that hole. The idea for this section over here is going to be that Triassic building I told you about. So all the stuff that comes before the Jurassic, all the Paleolithic era stuff, that's going to be here. I'm going to have one really big building with multiple exhibits in the building. So again, like if you go to a normal zoo, it's going to feel like a insect house, right? It's going to be an insect house or an aquarium house or a reptile house, stuff like that. It's going to be a big building with walkthrough and exhibits, and you can walk over the exhibits and stuff like that. I'm very excited. I don't really know what design it's going to be. I'm going to think about when I get there. I just know I have this huge area right here to work with, so I'm very excited for that down the line. And the idea of the whole park has been, if you didn't catch on, starting here at the start of the server, essentially, is the Triassic, and then you move into the Jurassic, and then you move into the Cretaceous, and then you move into the Cenozoic era, then you have the park maintenance area, and then you move into the actual zoo of modern era. So it kind of counterclockwise takes you around history in the park, and it's probably my favorite aspect of the park at a grand scale. I think once this server is quote-unquote complete, we have this whole valley done, it's going to be a very entertaining world just to walk through, and you kind of get a walk-through time, if you will. All right, but that said, let's go ahead and start taking a closer look at all of these Jurassic exhibits. This right here is not an exhibit, but this is our T-Rex holding pen. This was actually the very first creature I got in the park. This is Chopper, and I don't think he's going to attack us. Are you hungry? You should be good. Yeah, you're good. He's got plenty of steak in here. Now, the reason we have this guy in kind of a little containment pen is because, again, he was the first dinosaur we got in the server. He was the first egg to pop out, which is crazy lucky and unlucky. Lucky in the sense that it's a T-Rex. That's awesome. Unlucky in the sense that, well, the T-Rex, when hungry, can break through blocks. Also, creepy Minecraft music. That's unsettling. Ugh. Aha, this is what's happening. Down here, a creeper spawned with a backpack, and it's giving really, really creepy music. Not a fan of that. I need to come down here and light this up. Okay, well, we'll stay in spectator mode real quick just to get away from that music. Anyway, what I was saying is that this dinosaur, this T-Rex, it can break blocks. So it needs to be in very specific blocks that it can't break, that being reinforced glass. And so it's in a small pen because in the very beginning of the server, this takes quartz, and it was actually pretty tough and difficult to get a lot of quartz. It's still not the easiest. I still got to go to the nether. But I am a little bit more well off at this point. So we will be moving him over to the Cretaceous area because the T-Rex does not exist in Jurassic, even though the T-Rex is like the icon from the Jurassic Park series. But we'll definitely move him over to the Cretaceous. And then this area will actually be for the Allosauruses. Now I've got a really cool idea with the Allosaurus exhibit. Where essentially I'm chopping out a bunch of dirt right here. If you can imagine a bunch of waterfalls right here with an overhanging viewing platform looking down into the exhibit with a big canyon running a water river kind of here, and then the river escapes the exhibit, and then over on this side is more of the flat ground, rocky area and forest for them to kind of rest and exist in. So I'm very excited for that. But let's head on here into our Dryosaurus and Stegosaurus exhibit. This is by far the biggest exhibit we have in the park and will continue to be one of the biggest, probably until we get the Cretaceous herbivore exhibit. But this is all of the herbivores in the mod from the Jurassic era, minus the sauropods, because we're the Sauropod Squad, you know. I love sauropods. They're my favorite dinosaurs, so I moved them to their own little exhibit. Otherwise, they could very much well be here. But this place is crazy. We've got a lot of Dryos just breeding like no other. We got Ashton. A bunch of these guys have been named from the Sauropod Squad. We got Cherry. So the comment section has given us names. Aspen. Where's our Stegos? I think they've been chilling over here. Yeah, I really enjoyed this exhibit. It was a lot of fun to make. I love how I kind of have 3 different biomes, almost 4, right? We've got the redwoods over there. We've got like a little rocky section over there. We've got the river going through off of the mountain, which I love from the glaciers, and then a little bit of a acacia and what's the other one? The baobab trees combos, which are awesome. Where are our Stegos? Here they are. Hopefully nobody attacks me. Some of the Dryos have been getting a little feisty recently and attacking me. Here we go. We got Jitterbug, our female, and then we got Stego Steve, who was born just a few episodes ago, actually. So he is very, very young, but he's finally grown to pretty much full size. So that's cool to see. I think we will spend the night with our Stegos. Now, one thing I do love about this exhibit is that I kept a lot of the Minecraft grass in there because I think it looks really good. But the problem is, you can see there's sections like down here where it's completely gone. I've learned that these little suckers will eat the grass when they're hungry. They'll actually, if they're right next to it, they'll just eat it, kind of like sheep do. They'll just kind of devour it before they search for a one of the feeders. And so over time there's huge sections that just lose grass, which is kind of annoying, but hey, it is what it is. It's another thing that I can work on over time. I can come back into this exhibit and add different types of grasses that are modded plants that they won't eat, but I think it looks fine even when some of the grass gets taken away. All right, let's go ahead and hop out of the Stego and Dryo exhibit. Back to the lab and the monorail, which we were looking at before. I looked at these earlier, but I didn't mention these, but I did kind of start putting signs up. You know, when you're outside, like research facilities or whatever, they usually will have little signs saying what type of plant it is. And so I kind of wanted to replicate that and have fun kind of saying what era it is from. So 55 million years ago, this was from the Devonian era, and then, you know, I showed you this guy, Jurassic to present, and Cretaceous, and so, yeah, that's been pretty fun to kind of learn about the plants. Again, I'm not putting them in the actual spots, it's just, it is what it is. A little bit of science here and there is fun. All right, here is our aviation area, or aviary. Gives a little bit, temps guide, more signs. I actually put some information here that you can read through if you are interested in. Pausing the screen real quick, or check it out, the original episode here of the Dimorphodons. But it's a little bit of a walkthrough exhibit, so you can come in here and they fly around you, which is pretty fun. Got some more information on Dimorphodons. And honestly, I mean, I really like the Ceratosaurus exhibit. Look what we have. I really like the Ceratosaurus exhibit, but I got a soft spot for this little aviator. It was aviator. It's a little aviation area. Look at this. We got an egg. That is awesome. We'll have to hatch that in a future episode. Very exciting. But yeah, we've got Coco. Who was the one I couldn't remember? Flux, and who are you? Why can't I remember your name? Nova, of course. Hello, Nova. Sorry, I forgot about you. Yep, so these are our 3 flying Dimetrodons, and we can have up to like 10 of them in here. So excited to hatch out this new Dimorphodon. Not Dimetrodon. Oh my god. Dinosaur names are so difficult to remember when you're spouting out a bunch of them all the time. Diplodocus, Dimetrodon, Dimorphodon, Dilophodon, Dryosaur. Like, oh, there's so many ones that start with D. All right. Let's go ahead and wrap our way towards here. We've got one more exhibit to show you guys before talking about the future of the park real quick. And that is going to be actually our very first exhibit ever. Although it just rained on our parade. And for the sake of the video, I'm going to set the weather to clear for us. So down here, I haven't built it yet, but I've always planned to make a little bit of a raised area right here, so you can kind of go up, very similar to the Sauropod platform that you see right there. I want something that you can kind of climb up and look over the edge, but currently all we have are just the walls here to kind of peek in at our Dilos. Now, our Dilos were our first dinosaur exhibit, not including the T-Rex fiasco that we had to deal with. This is our true first exhibit, and there's a few viewing walls. So up here kind of views the top of the prairie. And then you can go over here. And again, eventually this will all be paved and much neater and much cleaner. But I did set this up down here so you kind of get a view into the dark section of the forest. You can see another Dilo in there. And yeah, this exhibit was very basic. I didn't have much materials to work with when we got to this point, which is why, I chose easy materials like stone brick. Redwood trees are easy to build. And then if we head on in here, which we have to kind of go around, I need to add more keeper doors, if I'm honest. But we head back here into the Sauropod exhibit, which is, in my mind, accessible to the public, which is, it's still dangerous, sure, but sauropods are peaceful. So while you're in here in the Sauropod exhibit, you can get another view of the Dilos. One of the best views, honestly. They really like to congregate in this little area. But if we want to get on in there, I can show you guys what I was talking about. I didn't have a whole lot of plants. Like in here, I've got elephant ear, we've got the Chipskia, and over there we've got a whole bunch of different stuff. Most of these plants came from fossils, which is why I didn't have a lot of them. The fossil turnout was slow in the beginning, and is only now kind of happening a lot and rapidly because of the lab and the automatic fossils and the crusher and all of the machines that we've got up and running. So here's Dennis Jr. All of these have names. We named them very recently. We've got Camille, we've got Agro, we've got Amelia, and then Venom is our OG dinosaur who doesn't seem to want to hang out with everybody. You being a loner, Venom? How you doing? You're not stuck or anything, right? No, you're good. Yeah, so I love Venom. I remember when I named her, I said I'm naming her ironically because I don't like the venomous type of frilled Dilos that are being, portrayed in media, like Jurassic Park specifically. I am much more keen on the actual historical fossil accurate models, which this model is matching, right? So they look much better when they're bigger and sleeker and longer. I like that version much better than the frilled one, but I still named it Venom to kind of respect the Jurassic Park series and that venomous poisonous spit that it spat at the guy. And their feeder is good. So that, folks, let's hop here into Spectator and hide the HUD again. That is the full world tour of what we've got going on here. Now, there are little things here and there that I didn't show you, but I showed you pretty much everything. And so what I want to spend the next few minutes here before outroing the episode is telling you guys about the future plans for the park. Now, I told you guys about this much longer ago, way longer ago. I told you guys kind of about the plans, but I wanted to be a little bit more specific right now for you guys since you watched your whole way through this kind of milestone episode. So right here is going to be the compies. We've got the compy Nagasaurus or whatever they're called, the little compies. There's going to be a pretty small exhibit, but big for them. It's going to kind of run up this hill, and I'm not sure exactly what I want to do, but it's going to have a really cool cliff face, which is exciting. And then if you pivot a little bit over here, we've got the Omniraptors, I think, omnivores or something like that. I forget their exact names, but kind of like beaked, and they're almost like ostriches. They're kind of cool. But they're going to be going here. And then that's the last creatures that we have for the Jurassic Park, besides the Allosauruses also that I showed you over there. And of course, we still need to get the Brachio in the Sauropod exhibit. But what that basically means is that we can make a little bit of a break in the two parks. So there'll be a bit of a wall right here that kind of runs diagonal or somehow, and it'll separate it. And on from this side, right, it'll say Jurassic, right? And then when you go on this side and you look this way, the wall will say Cretaceous. And this whole area over here is going to be the Cretaceous. Now, I'm extremely excited to get started in the Cretaceous area because the exhibits, in my opinion, are going to be bigger, better, more detailed, and just kind of crazier, right? Of course, like I keep saying, I'm going to come back to different exhibits and kind of refix up the Jurassic exhibits, but the Cretaceous exhibits are going to be awesome. Now, I'm going to leave a little bit of mystery for you guys, but just to kind of break it down, what the idea is, if you could imagine a big river that drains right here, runs all along here under the monorail, kind of winds its way through here, and then it kind of turns and it goes all the way up here into the glacier, and that'll be the big river that's going to cut through multiple exhibits, right? The main one that made me think of that was right here in this kind of boxed off section right at the edge is going to be a really big Spinosaurus exhibit. So I want water to pool up and then fall over and a bunch of waterfalls, and it'll be really cool. But we're going to stick our Spinos right here. Then further up along this route, kind of sticking on this right side, is where we're going to have a lot of the smaller exhibits, right? We're going to have the Velociraptors. We're going to have the big Sarco exhibit right here along the river. And then there's a bunch of other smaller Cretaceous creatures that kind of get their individual exhibits kind of stuck in this area. And then working your way up around here, I might take the monorail and skirt the monorail off out into the water section, as well as skirting its way up over here, climbing this mountain. And then on this peak right here, we're going to have our other aviary. Now, this is going to be huge, and generally is going to be one of the biggest projects I work on in this park ever. It's going to be a massive aviary. Big, perfect glass dome walls. In there is going to be the Quets, the Hots, the I don't even know. There's like 3 or 4 Cretaceous era flying reptiles that will be going in there, and so I'm extremely excited because once we have that up and running, no matter where you are in the park, you'll be able to look over there and see just this massive glass dome, which is very, very perfect, I think, in my mind, for a dinosaur park. Yeah, once we have the aviary up and running, and the monorail here is going to split off in multiple directions, the big Cretaceous herbivore pen is right here. Again, everything is like kind of loose. I don't know exactly like where the walls are going to be. I just know that this huge area is going to house all of the different herbivores, and there's quite a lot. There's like 5 or 6 different types of herbivores, which is why I want it to be so huge. They'll each will have their own little area, and we can theme it how we want to each dinosaur. But right here is going to be a massive exhibit, which I'm very excited for. And then working our way back over here, essentially the grand finale before the Cenozoic area is going to be the T-Rex exhibit. Now, I want this whole, pretty much everything you see on your screen is going to be T-Rex Mountain. We're going to have 5 T-Rexes. They're going to have a big range here to roam. They're going to have mountain range to get up here, pretty much up to the snow. And it's going to be another massive exhibit. But it's the T-Rex, right? The T-Rex exhibit's got to be awesome. And then, as we conclude, coming back over here, we've got the Cenozoic area, which can kind of start right here and kind of bump its way up against the maintenance area, but more so this kind of corner section. This is where we're going to have the Smilodons, the mammoths, and stuff like that, the Megalanias, and all sorts of creatures like that, which is also going to be very, very fun. I'm a big fan of all those creatures too, even though they're not technically dinosaurs. And then, yeah, that wraps us all the way back around to here. which you would go through to get to the zoo, which is exciting. So, folks, I hope you enjoyed this tour. I think I'm going to be doing this almost every 10 episodes to kind of conclude the movies. I'm sure some of you are watching the movie version of this. And if you are watching the movie, I thank you very much. It is I'm glad you were enjoying it and have watched the whole way through. The final thing I want to mention is right here, I've decided is going to be from this mountain here all the way across to this mountain is going to be a massive wall. And this is going to be the true entrance to the park. Yes, it enters you into the Cretaceous area, but I'll have a monorail station out here that technically you can get in and take all the way over to the Triassic if that's where you want to start. But there's going to be a big wall here, and I think I just simply wanted to say Sauropod Park. It'll be great. It'll be the grand entrance, and I'm very, very excited for that. Let's clear the weather once again. And there's a little side note. The monorail, I think it's going to come out here. It's going to turn around. It's going to go down this hill. You can already kind of see the path that it follows, the shelf here. This will take us down here, which is technically our nether portal, and our cave. And this is where we can put the aquatic area. So this is way, way down the road, but I think we can have a whole aquatic section right on the ocean here, which will tie it into the park and still feel pretty cohesive, all things considered. All right, folks, but that is going to conclude the episode today on our world tour. I hope you guys enjoyed. I love making this park for you guys. It is kind of a personal project of mine that I just also get to share with you guys, which is really exciting. I love dinosaurs. I love building Minecraft. I said it earlier in one of the episodes that it's always been kind of a dream of mine in Minecraft just to live in a log cabin in a thick forest, and that's what that is, baby. So the Sauropod exhibit makes me really happy, and it's just it's good to chill out in your Minecraft worlds from time to time, and it's a kind of a place of solace and solitude for me, which I really enjoy. But I also really enjoy making these episodes for you and talking about it. As you can hear, though, my voice is getting a little raspy because I've been talking straight for an hour doing this park tour, so I'm going to let you guys get out of here and go drink some hot cider, I think, to clear my throat, so some hot tea. But I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you guys are enjoying the series. This is episode 20. Many, many, many more to come. And I will probably continue to do these world tours every 10 episodes. It's kind of a bit of an update on the park, so stay tuned for those. But folks, let's see if I can land on this. There we go. But folks, for me and the whole Sauropod Squad Park, I thank you so much for watching. But until next time, guys, hope you have a good morning, evening, afternoon, or night, wherever you are in the world. But until next time, peace.